video about the water cycle. My name is Sarah and I work at the University of Memphis at a research center called CSER. Now we've talked a little bit about the three most basic parts of the water cycle: evaporation, precipitation, and condensation. But did you know that there's so much more to the water cycle than just those three? For this video, you're going to need to find a piece of paper or a notebook, something to write in, and we're going to be also building a model of the water cycle, but we'll talk about those supplies later. So first, take a look at this water cycle graphic. As you can see, evaporation, condensation, and precipitation are all clearly labeled, but there are several other processes between them. So let's work on those writing skills. As we talk through these different water cycle terms, write them down and do your best to define them along the way. So first, let's talk about surface water. Surface water is water found on the surface of the earth. It's exactly what it sounds like, right? You've seen surface water plenty of times. Think about rivers, lakes, oceans, creeks. Now, surface water forms when precipitation hits the ground. Now, does water just stay on the ground in that same spot forever and ever? No, it runs off. Runoff is when surface water flows with gravity to the nearest body of water, usually a stream or a creek. Sometimes it's a lake and an ocean as well. But not all precipitation runs off. Some water is taken up by plants, and the rest of the water actually becomes groundwater. Now, groundwater is any water that's held in the ground. Now, this is something you probably haven't actually seen with your own eyes, right? Now, in Shelby County, we rely on groundwater from the Memphis aquifer. So that's a very important water cycle process to us. Now, which part of the graphic do you see groundwater? Down here, right? So groundwater is also called an aquifer. That is a layer of sediment that holds water. But how does the water get in to the ground? Infiltration. When water soaks down into the ground, it infiltrates through all the little spaces in between and eventually becomes groundwater. Did you get a chance to take notes along the way with all these new water cycle processes? I hope so. So now it's time to put your knowledge to the test. So we are going to build a model of the water cycle using things you can just find around the house. Now, what's the first step you need to take when doing a new project? You got to make a plan, of course. Let's make sure that you've included everything on this list. Now that you know what needs to be included on the model, the next step is to plan out what materials you're going to need to build it. So this is where you can get a little creative. Now think hard. What materials are you going to be able to use to represent the sun, to represent a cloud, to represent surface water? We're going to use things like a crumpled up coffee filter for our clouds. We're going to use some blue paper and cut out little water droplets. Take a minute, explore your house, and find things that match up the list of terms and your diagram that you've made to make the model. Now that we have our plan and our materials list, it's time to draw out our model design. So now take your piece of paper and actually draw your diagram of what's going to represent the water cycle from your household. Make sure that you label everything along the way so you don't get confused later when you're actually putting your model together. Here's an example of the design drawing that we did for our water cycle model. Now, the planning process is all complete. So what you need to do now is build your model. Remember to refer to your diagram and all of the terms that you have listed out. So after you've built your model, feel free to take a picture and post it onto one of our social media accounts, either on Facebook or Twitter, and you can find the links to those in the description. We'd love for you to write comments on this video and tell us how your model building went, or how your classroom enjoyed doing the lesson. For more information about CSER, go to our website at caesar.memphis.edu, and be sure to like and subscribe. We can't wait to be with you in the next video.